What's raging, gamers? Welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
Chris, it's Wednesday. It's time to rage. I couldn't be better because of that.
Hey, right? We got so much to discuss here on Rage Quit. But before we even begin, we always like to start off the show with a bang and show you guys a lot of viral content that's circulating all across the World Wide Web. So let's get it. Ex-Fortnite pro Mr. Savage just pulled off the ultimate flex, setting a Guinness World Record by eliminating a player 1,161 meters away while his monitor was practically in another zip code. So teaming up with Red Bull in Norway, they even sat out in the freezing snow like some kind of esports Viking, picking off opponents at increasing distance before landing the record-breaking shot.
I'm gonna eliminate someone on Fortnite from a kilometer away, but let's start off easy.
Come on! I mean, guys, I can't believe we're even trying this. That is tiny. Yes! Come on! Oh my god! Let's get it to over 1 kilometer. Yeah, guys, this is really hard. I can't see nothing. And I'm aiming for that. Wow, that's gonna be hard.
I can't see if I'm aiming like too much up or too much down. I need to have a shotgun. Bro, this is so bad now with all the rain. Yes! Come on!
Imagine the input lag on that. Oh,
I know, right? Exactly. How do they even pull that off? That's what I'm like even more amazed. I want to see more of a behind the scenes look at accomplishing this amazing Guinness World Record. But that didn't stop gamers from commenting on this amazing achievement with the following. So the first one says, I'm going to do a 2 kilometer now just to piss him off. Hey, man.
Gotta double him up.
Hey, go with it, hardware media. I like the drive. And the next one we got here is bro has supervision followed up by he really showed those bots who's the man. Come on, man. Why does everybody always have to like clown something when, again, like, did you not see that he was using a telescope?
Yeah. Or it's kind of hard to see that distance otherwise, I imagine.
I wonder what is harder, doing the telescope or his friend holding the monitor for as long as he did to try to accomplish the Guinness World Record. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then the last comment we got here is, I want to see the cable management from that TV to his computer. Kind of what you were, trying to suggest, right? Like,
yeah, there's definitely something behind the scenes there that is going to be very interesting to see if they ever do show it, because this is not something you could just do if you don't have planning behind it.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can only imagine with the team of Red Bull and Mr. Savage. I mean, awesome. Such a freaking cool accomplishment.
Always doing crazy things.
Always, right? But you know what's also really, really badass? Split Fiction. And they hide a brutal secret level so tough it makes your controller file for a restraining order. But if you beat it, creator Joseph Ferris himself appears in a video at the end, shocked that you even pulled it off. And the first to do it scored a trip to Hazelight Studios in Sweden to see their next game. I don't think I've ever seen this before in any kind of style of video game, but if you haven't seen the clip, let's go ahead and take a look.
Oh dear. I've got a feeling this is going to be very, very, very hard.
Wow, amazing. You have to understand this challenge, there are barely people in our team that can make it. It took us a lot of time to finish it. And I'm telling you, this is a crazy, crazy achievement you have done. And I'm not talking to you guys who are looking on this on YouTube. If you're seeing this on YouTube, you should go to the game. It's a really hard challenge. But to those of you that are actually in the game, seeing this video, I'm super amazed. And I'm gonna tell you one thing. If you see me in real life somewhere and you can prove to me that you actually did this challenge, I can promise you the first one who does that, I'm gonna fly you to Sweden and show you early footage of our next game. I promise you that. And then show you some other surprises as well. I guarantee you that. Just grab me wherever, whenever, and just prove it to me. And I promise you, I will take you to Sweden and you will have the adventure of your life. Again, extremely good work. Thank you, guys.
I mean, that's a really cool secret to find. And just like, imagine you are the first person to see that. And you get this message saying, hey, we're going to fly you out and you're going to see a bunch of things no one's seen for the next game. Just that's a child's dream right there.
Yes.
When they play a game.
Well, especially in the middle of the gameplay in Split Fiction, and really to find the door, there was like a barcode at the top of the door, and that's how people figured out the jumping pattern to even unlock it, and then to get through the laser challenge. That's a whole other achievement to unfold. But let's go ahead and dive right on into the comments, because the first one says, right from Joseph Ferris, congrats to Shark OVO and E1UM4Y. Very lucrative gamer tags for finishing the secret challenge, Laser Hell, and hashtag Split Fiction. Very impressive. I will keep my promise and invite you both to Sweden for an early look of our next game. We'll be in touch. And you know what's so cool is that they're already in the early development for their next game. So excited for this studio. They are fantastic. I really truly believe they will be contenders for game of the year, you know, towards the end of the year. But let's get into the next one. Chinese speedrunners are wild. Yeah, you know, sometimes, you know, they see things that like we're not paying attention to, you know. I mean, it could be any kind of type of gamers. I mean, sometimes you just forget to smell the roses in the video game.
Yeah.
If you can.
You gotta pay
Maybe it's
attention to
because
the
we
little
did
details.
Yes, exactly. And then last, great. Now my wife is asking for a divorce because I yelled at her during the bomb toss side story. Can I get a trip to Sweden? My wife is Swedish, by the way. Maybe she won't divorce me if I invite her to come along. See, this is the problem with Hazelight Studio Games. Like I told people, don't play this with your loved ones. You will regret. No, all jokes
tear
aside.
you guys apart instead of bring you together.
Or, you know what's even better is a gamer's girlfriend recorded his first time in VR. So maybe you do want them to play, because if not, they're going to be secretly recording you in the end. And if you were their neighbors, you'd probably be dialing 911, convinced a horror movie was happening next door. This wasn't just a man with a loud scream. He unleashed noises that could summon spirits. So brace yourself and take a listen.
Oh shit!
I love the dog's reaction to that.
Yes.
It's just like it's a litmus test of how loyal the dog really is.
Yeah, it grabs its support toy snake all in the process. Like, who we beefing with? I didn't even know that they could even react. I didn't even see a move. But then you get comments like this. The dog thought the toy was scaring him, so he had to fight it back. See, that's what my first reaction was, too. I was like, what is going on? I mean, especially when you're screaming and hollering like that. I think that's like the main reason why I haven't really convinced myself to even want to buy a VR headset. I think I would want the Apple headset more than anything, so I could actually see the screen, but then I could see beyond the screen, if you know what I mean, HenricK.
All right. Well, you want to spend all that money? I see you.
Well, that's true, but I don't want to be like completely closed in, because I know with my family, they would mess with me if I got too involved with virtual reality. Then you get comments like this: the screams of pure terror. And last, that's not your boyfriend, that's your girlfriend, sweet. Man, damn, dude. Jesus. I mean, we've all, like, Alien Isolation comes to mind. I was screaming my butt off when I was first playing those games. But man, you gotta love it. So HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Oh yeah. And in the words of Dante from Devil May Cry, let's rock.
Let's get it.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Assassin's Creed Shadows. The long-standing Assassin's Creed series finally makes its way to Japan, but will this game be memorable or forgettable? Let's find out by first going over the gameplay. The gameplay of Assassin's Creed Shadows takes the best of previous titles. Since there are two protagonists to play as, Yasuke and Naoe, there are two playstyles. Yasuke takes the forward approach of combat first, where Naoe sticks to the shadows and fights when necessary. For much of the game, you are allowed to choose which character you want to play as depending on your personal preference. However, there is a canon mode that decides this along with some story decisions for you. Much of the game will involve you exploring the vast open map of the game, doing side missions, collecting upgrades, and progressing main missions. All the while, you will be upgrading both Yasuke's and Naoe's skills with new abilities and bonuses. There is also a passage of time through changing seasons and a sense of progression through building out your hideout. And of course, the story is important in this game, so let's go over that. The story of Assassin's Creed Shadows takes place in 16th century Japan. It opens up with Yasuke while he's still under the command of Portuguese missionaries. He catches the attention of Lord Oda Nobunaga and becomes a warrior under him as he campaigns into the Iga province. Meanwhile, Naoe, a resident and defender of Iga, is attacked in the chaos of Nobunaga's campaign and a valuable treasure is lost. Yasuke and Naoe eventually cross paths and find that they are after the same thing after all. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat?
Slipping out of the shadows into the spotlight is Ubisoft's latest quadruple A game.
You had to go there.
No, but in all seriousness, let's not, bring up their past failures, because this one, it's actually a little bit of a change of pace. They've done a decent job with this game, and I like the direction they're going in. If they keep going up, Ubisoft, they're going to make some solid games eventually. At least that's the hope. And I say that because I actually enjoyed my time in this game. This game has some good, solid gameplay and plenty of fun to be had. Maybe not all the time, but, a good amount.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think,
that's
Chris?
what comes with open worlds, right? Once upon a time, the Animus was the backbone of the Assassin's Creed series when Desmond Miles would become Altair and Ezio sneaking through history like time-traveling ninjas. But ever since Assassin's Creed Origins went full RPG, stealthy assassinations turned into open world brawls where your hidden blade was just another way to poke your enemies slightly faster. So now Assassin's Creed Shadows is trying to find that middle ground, like the perfect blend of soy sauce and wasabi.
But did you prefer playing as Yasuke or playing as Naoe?
Well, doesn't it kind of feel like you're Hulk smashing your way with Yasuke? It felt like, I've been seeing a lot of comments online. I kind of feel that way. It did feel like the easy mode. I felt like myself was going towards Naoe because I wanted to relive the glory days that I grew up with when it came to the Assassin's Creed, the original trilogy.
Yeah, I have to be on the same page with you on that one because, I can't knock Yasuke's gameplay too much, because it's fun. I love that genre of action adventure, but it really does feel like not assassin style, because what says assassin more than stealth, right?
Yeah. But
when you're Yasuke, you're not really stealth. You're going in, you're kicking someone Spartan style, and they're flying across the room. That's not stealthy. Come on.
I felt like with the dual protagonists, they were a little afraid to lose the fan base that really loved, Valhalla in a sense. So they definitely wanted to mash the middle ground both together. And I think, for in all fairness, it definitely does invite for a very awesome skill tree to develop amongst these two characters. And just being set in the late Sengoku period of Japan, AC Shadows introduces you to not one but two protagonists. I think that's really, really badass. You got a skilled shinobi assassin who makes sneaking around look effortless, and Yasuke, the legendary African samurai who treats every battlefield like his personal demolition site. And so together, HenricK, their paths cross in time of turmoil in which their actions will carve their way through the history in a tale of revenge, honor, and more enemy NPCs being completely blind to someone crouching in a bush 2 feet away from them.
Yeah, and that actually is a testament of how maybe reminiscent of older Assassin's Creed games
Yes.
nowadays gameplay is, down to the AI being a little dumb at times.
Little dumb.
But, you have all these tools at your disposal, different weapons, the ability to climb, you have a grappling hook to get up to rooftops.
Yeah, I think
All
Batman
these
could have wanted
tools-
that.
Yeah, definitely. All these tools at your disposal to make sure that you can sneak into an enemy base, kill everyone, and no one would be the wiser. And that is really the classic Assassin's Creed gameplay style that me and plenty of other people have been waiting to make a big return.
Yes, absolutely. And, even with Origins, I love the open world. And I feel like even with AC Shadows, this is a love letter to feudal Japan, packed with everything from the bustling castle towns to the serene temples, and enough cherry blossoms to be left mystified by the beautiful
With
scenery.
the changing of the seasons also, because that is a very big part of the scenery.
But yeah, absolutely, because it's not just a static world this time. Ubisoft went all out with what you're suggesting, the dynamic weather system and changing seasons. So like one day you're creeping through the tall summer grass like a deadly ninja, and then the next autumn rolls around and the grass is gone and you're stuck awkwardly crouching in plain sight, hoping no one notices you.
Yeah, but we have to address the elephant in the room.
Okay, what is that?
And the weakest part of it, because the weakest part is the story, unfortunately. And it really comes down to a couple things, at least from what I can see so far. And that is that the writing can be really, really cringy and bad at times. And the voice direction, at least in the English voicing of the game, is a little bit not on point. I feel like it almost made me feel like I should just change the voices to Japanese and Portuguese, and then maybe it will be bad acting there, but I don't know because I don't speak those languages native.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I think that kind of comes with the terrain of when you're trying to, share, two different stories and then try to make them all mesh together in the end. Cause like Naue is like the scalpel and Yasuke is like the sledgehammer walking straight into combat, absorbing hits like a tank. But after a long playthrough, I'm kind of with you, HenricK. I can't help but feel like Yasuke would have been a better surprise as a quest giver, like past Assassin's Creed games. And what I mean by that is like, we never played as George Washington tossing gavels like throwing knives, or Leonardo da Vinci parkouring with the paintbrush. Sticking to a fictional assassins made it easier to buy into the whole rewriting the history with hidden blades fantasy. But playing as a real historical figure doing things he never actually did, it's like watching Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Cool, but like,
Yeah,
who
great
else
movie.
has got to question the reality a little bit?
Yeah. But taking a step back from, anything inside of the game for a moment here,
Yeah.
a battle pass Ubisoft in a single
Yeah,
player
that's very
game?
lame.
Come on. Is this your way of basically trying to condition us to be okay with this so that when you put this in your games moving forward, we won't question it? It has to be addressed because it feels scummy. And I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely got that FOMO, like the fear of missing out, especially considering how there are premium armor. I believe there's like 4 different sets that like you really have to pay real money to get it. And then there's like a weird factor too, where it's like, hey, you want to reveal more of the map? Pay us money. And it's like, doesn't that just kill the overall experience? It's like we were clowning last week. Do we really need
that not
esports
the
AI
point?
coaches? Right. And so I feel like, how do you get that classic assassin experience if you're just everything's revealed to you right in the beginning of the game? Because I think that's the best part about it. You're using the shadows to your advantage. You're distracting the guards. You're going to be walking into different locations with like a totally different immersive experience. And so to have that be all laid out, I'm with you, HenricK. That is very, very scummy.
Yeah. But hey, it unfortunately is part of what the industry's direction is going in. And I guess Ubisoft wants part of the battle pass and live service pie because it's what makes money. And I'm sure that as much as you and I might not like this, it's probably here to stay. And I'm sure they will make money off of it because once again, like you said, the whole FOMO aspect.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people aren't really happy about this game.
I would say, HenricK, it's really like a tiny little thing with the game. And I don't feel like that really like dampened the experience with playing Assassin's Creed Shadows. I feel like there's other things to celebrate about the game. I think like one, it is the first Assassin's Creed game with a full seasonal cycle, meaning like winter can literally freeze lakes for new paths, and autumn will make you question every crunchy leaf you step on. And I love the idea of the fog and storms that roll in dynamically, because nothing says assassin tension like Mother Nature deciding your mission needs more drama. So there is a lot to unpack, especially with the two different style of gameplay that you get from these two protagonists.
Yeah, that actually is a good point in regards to replayability also, because, maybe you played through the game one time as Yasuke mostly, you can challenge yourself and do Naoe, or vice versa. But that leads me into my question to you, Chris.
Yeah.
Is this a pause or a repeat?
Well, I got to say, though, HenricK, I think this is a very fantastic game. I think a lot of gamers are going to want to play it, despite the whole go woke, go broke crowd sharpening their pitchforks. Assassin's Creed Shadows has already crushed past 2 million players in 3 days, outpacing Origins, Odyssey, and even Valhalla. And some people could say that's probably because Ubisoft finally started thinking smart. Maybe you should drop it day one on Steam. Maybe you shouldn't wait 2 years to try to get people to try to buy it through the Ubisoft store. But Ubisoft desperately needed a win after Star Wars Outlaws and Skull and Bones quadruple A release, especially considering rumors about Tencent circling Ubisoft like a hungry eagle ready to take over the franchise altogether. So yeah, I'm with you, HenricK. I feel like, actually, I don't know what you're vibing with, but I'm going to say it's a repeat. I had a lot of endless fun, and I know you, the gamers, I truly believe you're going to want to revisit it, because it is a beautiful stylistic game. And yeah, we got some really good heavy contenders for this year's Game of the Year awards, that's for sure. What about you, HenricK?
Yeah, this is definitely a win for Ubisoft, and I like the direction they're going in. If they keep doing well and just better and better, that's a good thing. Don't want to see Ubisoft just go away, because we lose so many things if they go away.
Yeah.
In regards to this game, though, it's like middle of the road, and that's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing, because it could be worse. I will say there's plenty of better games out there, but my whole point about the replayability is what makes this a repeat for me, because, I went through the game mostly as Naoe, but I could go through the game again as Yasuke. It might be a little easier for me, but I can just breeze through the gameplay and I have a different experience. That's a repeat for me.
Yeah. Hey, well, you heard it from both of us. We're both agreeing. We both think it's a fantastic game. And are you excited to revisit the world of Assassin's Creed all over again? Let us know what's good. Is it a pause to play something else, or a repeat for endless fun? But stick around, gamers, because we have so much more here left on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So, HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Oh, yeah. Let's get it.
What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK the Wreck and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. Microsoft teased its grand vision of merging Xbox and Windows for handhelds, and then immediately hit the undo button when The Verge asked about it. So as you can see from this image on screen, they briefly posted an image of the new Xbox UI across multiple devices, complete with a very visible Steam label, before yanking it faster than a developer deleting a bad tweet. So with Microsoft also trying to make the Xbox app the home of PC gaming, adding Steam integration could be a game changer, or just a wild tease. Please don't be that case. But this didn't stop gamers from having a lot to say about this brand new reveal. So let's go ahead and dive right on into the comments. So the first one that we got here is, if this is Xbox future, where my library can consist of all the games I've purchased across multiple storefronts and can just launch from my games library seamlessly, sign me up, dude. If that was truly the case, I think I would easily leave Sony and jump to Microsoft ASAP. I really do.
Okay, that's
I really
old words from you, Chris.
Oh, you have to. You'd have to. I mean, just the fact that you could be able to, gather all your games into one hub. This is a fantastic win for all gamers. I don't see how anybody can hate on this. I mean, the only people that are going to be focused on first-party exclusives would be Nintendo moving forward.
That's true, yeah. And they even don't have a huge reach in comparison, I'd say, to PlayStation. Xbox maybe also too in some respect, considering that Xbox is also Microsoft and they do Windows. So
yeah, we're definitely we're gonna definitely see the history and of what Nintendo's gonna go through moving forward, the future. You know what I mean? Whether they can actually survive to continue to push first party games only on their platforms moving forward. We'll have to see what's up. Clearly, Xbox is winning. I mean, did you see even with the reports that all these pre-orders are on the Sony PS5 is being dominated by Xbox games? You think of Froza, you think of the upcoming Indiana Jones, and just Starfield potentially coming, or Halo Combat Evolved, the whole trilogy, some rumors of talks to come there, Gears of War as well. I mean, wow. I mean, there's definitely an awesome push that's happening amongst the gaming industry. And then you also get stuff like this, Game Pass plus Steam equals me. Yes, we are cooking in the end. We are definitely feasting, and this actually shows up to be in existence. Xbox seems to want to just brand PC gaming. I don't know. In my opinion, if everything can be an Xbox, then Xbox doesn't exist. It's just a front end for PC launches. So do you believe that would be the case, HenricK? Would Xbox be completely gone? I mean, Sega seemed to be all right.
Well, I mean, Sega is just a publisher at that point, and Xbox could be just a publisher if they really wanted to be. They have enough studios as is to be just a standalone publisher and not make any hardware, not really use the Xbox branding outside of publishing anymore. They could do it. They just don't want to just yet. Yeah. And I don't think they will for a little bit.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that one. And then it looks like an updated Xbox PC app as a unified game launcher more than anything. Don't tell me that. Don't do that. Don't do that. No. We have better hopes than just a PC launcher. And then last, this is actually effing huge if they can get a Steam on their next console. If it runs Steam games, it'd be huge because Microsoft would have finally given up on consoles and made a PC like they should have been the whole time. Or we can just say, quote, this is great because it gives users a great system to play everything on. Yeah, why are people even debating? This can even go beyond just the all thing PC gaming route. This is what we've been talking about for years when it comes to cloud gaming. The fact that you can be able to play games on your TV, maybe your smart TV, without the device or console in hand. If you have really kick-ass, badass Wi-Fi, you can get all things gaming. So HenricK, while the new UI was clearly a mock-up that Microsoft yeeted into the void, do you think Xbox is actually bringing PC storefronts to console, or is this just a glorified Xbox PC launcher meant to organize your Steam, Epic, and GOG libraries into one giant hub? Basically like a Pinterest board for all your launchers.
Well, this easily could be just a gung-ho intern that was in charge of making that graphic and was a little hopeful that it might happen at some point in the future if they do a little bit of poking and prodding. Hey, you could do this. You could do it. But, to look at it really objectively, it would be a great move for Microsoft and the consumers. It would just be a very pro-consumer choice. And when you look at Steam, a lot of their choices that they make are pro-consumer, and that is why they are so successful as being the go-to storefront for PC.
Yeah.
Because everyone that's going there and wanting to buy games on Steam, they're buying them on Steam rather than on Epic or on Ubisoft's launcher or EA's app, all because they know that Valve has stood behind their products on the platform and will stand behind you, the consumer, and support you because you are their best interest, not the developers putting the games on there and selling the games. They want to make sure that at the end of the day, you are the one happy. And that really matters to them. And if if Microsoft wants to do that too, I'm not against that. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I think that, with the Steam label being in that image, I don't think that was necessarily a mistake. I think there's definitely some truth to it. The Verge has confirmed that they have sources familiar with what's going on with Microsoft, and they're saying that the company is currently working on an Xbox app update that will show every game you have installed on your PC. So if that's truly the case, what that tells me is, one, I originally had like this previous conspiracy theory thinking that like Steam could be shopping around and seeing whether they could partner up with like the likes of Netflix, for example, to bring that Steam integration to their platform. But now it seems like Steam's starting to think way ahead and starting to realize, like, you know what? We are the most dominant form for all PC gamers. We understand with our platform that most of the PC gamers are the ones that's actually supporting the industry the most, right? I mean, they are the ones that will be the first people to buy $70 plus games day one on release. And so to try to encourage more console purchases, why not integrate both? And then that can get people really, really excited where, like, sometimes not everybody has, like we've discussed in the past, $3,000, to be able to play some of these games. Also, it kind of starts to invite a little bit more luxury to bring some of those PC games maybe to be integrated as console play, right? And I mean, there's a lot of games like that come out like later on in the year where they go, hey, we were only on PC, but now we're coming to the console. And I think this is just kind of opening up a lot of amazing opportunities for even indie studios to get their games showcased to more gamers all across the world.
Yeah. And, I feel like while consoles and, their whole war with each other is a thing that is an age-old topic, at the end of the day, we all are gamers. We all want to play games. And the more games that can be in front of you, the gamer, that's a win. Yeah. I don't see why anyone should be against that. It just wouldn't make sense to be against the idea of having more games to play, especially when there's so many people that say they don't have any games to play. Okay, we'll open up your broad horizons that are in front of you, open your eyes, and you can see there's a ton. And maybe this would be the way to, make it seem like, oh, actually, there are a lot of games out there to play on console.
Yeah, that's why I'm always like picking on Nintendo a lot recently, because that's why I'm just very intrigued to see whether the Switch 2 will actually win over gamers in the end. Like, obviously, they're going to have their niche community that's going to support them and, a full arsenal support. But I just don't know how long that would work until Nintendo has to start folding.
When it comes to Nintendo, though, they always have some sort of gimmick recently with their consoles. Like the Wii had the motion controls, the Wii U had the deck that went with the console, and then that was kind of like the beta version in a way of the Switch being a handheld hybrid console. So yeah, they always have some sort of niche. Both
but like
whoop-de-doo about the software.
But it's like whoop-de-doo about the magnetic controller that's going to be dropping. Like, who cares? If you're continuously dropping games like 2 years later on, kind of like we were joking with, the Assassin's Creed series, like, doesn't necessarily help to try to get people to go to the Ubisoft store to play the game. And then 2 years later, you drop it on Steam. Like, they quickly realize as a studio that just doesn't work. And so I'm just wondering, like, whether that's even going to continue moving forward with Nintendo, and whether that exclusivity window is going to completely shut down in the end. Probably not. We'll see what ends up happening. Obviously, Microsoft is still toying around with it when it comes to Starfield, but we want to hear from you, the gamers. Do you feel like this is just another glorified PC launcher that Xbox is just trying to help out all the PC gamers around the world, going, hey, we've heard from you. We understand you want one software app and we will deliver it for you? Or do you truly believe your Steam games will be coming to the consoles in the near future? Let us know what's good.
Well, this year and also last year has not been the greatest for the industry's workers. And so, we're going to switch it up a little bit. We have some good news for them. The Communications Workers of America is leveling up its efforts in the gaming industry, teaming up with the American Federation of Musicians, because apparently layoffs hit developers and guitarists alike.
Yeah.
Well, enter United Video Game Workers, CWA, a new organizing group, not quite a union, but something more like a large-scale organizing group, announced at this year's Game Developers Conference. And it's open to everyone from full-time developers to contractors to those recently booted from the industry and their first quest. But we have a petition calling out mass layoffs with a worker bill of rights, as they call it, in the pipeline.
Yeah.
So let's see what the gamers think.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued to see what gamers are going to be thinking about this. So let's dive right on in. The first comment goes, this is the way. Okay,
Yes.
Clearly people feel like, more video game developers need to unite and fight against the oligarchy, I guess, I suppose. And then you get comments like this. Oh, wow, this is wait, I need an MLA format for this. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, man, I'm pro-union, but the CWA sucks major butt. The union folds at the company's whim, at least in my district they do. Our last contract, they didn't even try and bargain and instead just extended the same shoddy contract that we already had for another 4 more years. It was sickening because there was a strong union movement at the time with Kellogg's on strike and the railroad threatening strike. Instead, they bow to the whims of the company to protect the ones retiring within the next 4 years and hose everyone that remains afterwards. So unions are great, though. The CWA just doesn't have a spine, and why a vast majority of the membership hates the union. Take it for what you will. This is one individual. He doesn't speak for everybody, but wow, you definitely are seeing both sides of the aisle. Next comment that you see here is, quote unquote, today in an historic development for the video game organizing, workers across the U.S. and Canada are launching United Video Game Workers, CWA Local 9433, a direct join industry-wide video game union with the Communication Workers of America in partnership with the American Federation of Musicians, the AFM. Good. Get it, cut it. Good. Little master disguise for you. And then you get comments like this. It's about time. There is no software development sub-industry where people work as much for as little on less security or secure jobs than the game industry. In my opinion, their first goal should be to enforce a 40-hour max work week. Crunch doesn't just hurt game developers, it also hurts games and it hurts the companies as well. Don't tell that to Rockstar Games. Don't you do it, okay? But then you get a follow-up that says, make overtime pay expensive. Some overtime can be reasonable, but make the bastards think much it will cost if they don't let off now. So, well, yeah, I think anybody can agree to that. I mean, I feel like that's what we've been hearing over the last 2 years. 40-hour work weeks would work great, but then again, there are some benefits to crunch periods, but they got to be paid overtime. And I think that's
it's definitely
the biggest thing.
Possible to do this, considering how successful some of these companies that are doing crunch are, and how big and successful the games that do have crunch times before release end up being. So I'm sure that they could shell out a little bit of a shekel here and there for the people that are working overtime.
Yeah,
they just don't have a need to just of right now.
Right. And then you get comments like this. They'll just close any studio that unionizes and move development to a different state or country. They can strike all they want. This isn't a factory that can't be moved with tons of machines and equipment. These studios aren't next to any important resource like a machine or a mine that is essential to development. Companies will just transfer the work somewhere else or just cancel the game they're working on. Soon, Texas and Florida will be where all the talent goes for game development. Give a compelling argument as to why a company wouldn't do these things. They'll leave town as soon as the picket starts. There is kind of some truth to this. I don't know if anybody has seen this when it comes to the cinema industry. Rob Lowe's really been pushing for why the hell are not more films being shot here in Los Angeles? Why are we leaving Tinseltown? It's crazy. We're going to Georgia. We're going to Florida. It's cheaper to send a full crew to Ireland and shoot for a whole week than it is to shoot in California, because the state of California, along with the city of Hollywood, don't give out tax credits. They have to fight like hell to be able to produce their stuff in the city of dreams. And so, yeah, I can see how that same practice can be applied even in the video game space, even when it comes to development. It's unfortunate, but that's that's how the real world is starting to work. And then you get comments like this, which is the last one. Oh, hey, that's my union. Hopefully this actually gets off the ground and helps make the industry conditions less completely awful. Same. They do great work in other tech areas, so fingers crossed. And so, yes, HenricK, with the United Video Game Workers CWA stepping into the arena to tackle mass layoffs and workplace rights, some gamers are cheering like it's the final boss fight against corporate greed, while others aren't so sure it's even holding the right controller. So do you think that this new organizing group will make a real impact, or is this just another NPC in the industry's never-ending side quest for fair treatment?
Well, it definitely has the potential to make an impact, and we do need to see some sort of change happen because we've seen way too many layoffs from big companies in the last couple of years, and it's really affected so many people, and also in some ways affected you and I, the gamers, who are not working in the industry but playing the games, because we're losing a lot of great talent in the industry, as well as games having to be delayed because they're laying off people, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
All sorts of reasons. And maybe this will prevent all that from happening. We'll have to see what actually ends up being done. And I do hope that it doesn't end up happening like what one of those commenters was suggesting might happen, where all the work then gets offloaded to other places in the world that are cheaper as a result of this. That could easily happen considering, like you were saying, it's happening in some respect in the cinema industry as well.
Well, even take into account, even with Donald Trump, President Donald Trump and his tariff war, how that has affected the physical copies of video games, where they've been reported to, reallocate, to different parts of the world to be able to cut down on the production cost. But then again, you do have video game workers across the United States and Canada that will try to gather the best of the best video game contractors, freelancers, indie developers, and workers. But I also do truly believe they need to get involved with the voiceover actors as well. We have been covering this for the last month, how crazy it is, how Ashley, the star of Alloy, had no idea that Guerrilla Games, along with Sony, were working on an AI model of her character that she brought to life. And why the hell it sounds like her? It's super, super creepy. So there's no real AI voice protection. So it might all sound cute and great when it comes to this quote unquote Bill of Rights, but that's all a bunch of jargon. That doesn't really do a whole lot, in the end. It has to have to be I truly feel like it's got to be like cut all production off until you really get a hold of AI, or the same kind of continued practice in the industry will continue and continue on out.
Yep. Yeah. It's not going to make any difference unless it hurts the bottom line of the people on the top.
Yeah.
And that's when they start listening. So
because HenricK, don't you think it's too easy to just say over and over again, yeah, we're going to raise issues around overwork. We're going to raise the issue about sexism and job protection. What about trying to figure out how to stop the record-breaking 14,600 people laid off from the gaming industry just alone in 2024? I mean, that's insane. And I think that's where, people want to get to. I mean, there might be, some goodness in this. I mean, you start to think about some of the video game workers who have made progress in organizing in recent years at companies including Microsoft or Sega. For example, last July, World of Warcraft workers voted to unionize the popular video game franchise, expanding the organized labor's foothold at Microsoft to around 1,750 employees, while on the other hand, workers at Sega of America, the company behind the beloved Sonic the Hedgehog, won a union election a year earlier. So we'll have to see whether the UVA CWA got a good mission statement to really kind of tackle, what a lot of these AAA studios do, looking for that short-term profit and then kick everybody out. And so we'll have to see what happens. But we want to hear from you, the gamers around the world. Do you think this is a really, really good start for the sustainable future to protect the people that make those fantastic games that we all love, or is this just another exhausting push that doesn't really go anywhere?
Yeah.
Let us know what's good.
But speaking of bottom lines and, having to delegate about that, Tell us about your bank account, Chris.
Oh man, if you ever looked at your bank account after a gaming session and wondered if you just accidentally bought a small country, you're not alone, because cosmetics in games like Marvel Rivals, Overwatch 2, and Fortnite have turned online gaming into a virtual ATM. So thankfully, the European Commission and the Consumer Protection Cooperation Network have decided to step in, putting guidelines in place to stop companies from disguising real money prices with virtual currency trickery. So after Genshin Impact found itself in hot waters for hiding loot box cost, now it's Star Stable Online under the microscope, for being extra shady. I know, right? For being extra shady with kids' wallets. So with the new guidelines, as you can see on screen, laying down 7 key principles for virtual currencies, the question is, will this change anything, or will publishers just find new ways to keep our wallets on life support? So let's see what gamers have to say about the following. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. So the first one that we got here is, oh boy, if I could even find it. There we are. Does this mean games cannot use, sorry for my ignorance, I don't know the exact names, FIFA coins, Z-Bucks, gold, etc. for, let's say, skins instead of having real currency pricing? And then a follow-up question follows up by saying, I could imagine they still use the digital currency, gold, coins, whatever, but have to show the equivalent real money price. Yeah, that's the understanding that I'm getting from the EU, is that, you know, you can call it whatever kind of lucrative term that you want for your currency, but you got to show the real world dollar, you know, right next to it. I think this is a great win, a great push that the EU is really trying to focus on to not just protect the kids, all of us. I can't stand.
Don't make it confusing to look at. Just make it easy.
You make it easy.
What it costs in real world money. Yeah.
But then this is an average European consumer rights W. It's about time that game companies are held accountable for their pricing strategies. And then you get comments like this. Indeed, not only does it make it obvious how much someone is spending, it combats the quote unquote, this item is $6, but I can only buy chunks of $5 of currency. I hate that. Yeah. That is always the worst. And I don't even think that even a part of this whole push with the EU, they're not tackling this. But maybe they can get across. Right. I mean, man, they got us all to, switch to the USB-C cables all being one device. They stopped Apple from all that lunacy. Maybe, the EU can really pull this off in the end. And then we also have this, actually one of the few ways to get improvements in the US. The EU forces businesses to behave, and it ends up being cheaper to just accept it and make the change globally. It's happened more than once. I'm afraid this one will be easy enough to circumvent, though. Just have to find a different store page for US that uses gems or gold or Stanley nickels. And then we got a follow-up comment that says, yeah, I'm a software engineer who does a lot of the front end work, and it would, in parentheses, sadly, be trivially easy to show additional information in the EU and not in the USA. Yeah, wow.
Sounds about right.
Wow. And then you get comments like this that say, good, spending fake bamboozles is so much easier when you aren't immediately connecting it to a dollar amount. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where they're kind of messing with your psyche. They also design their stores such that you can never buy the correct quantity of bamboozles to get a specific item in the store. You'll always have that some of the fake currency left over to try and get you to come back, and it serves to further the real conversion value. The entire thing is predatory from the top to bottom, and it needs to stop. It's kind of like that same practice that you get with Fortnite, I feel like. You're like, oh, God, I gotta push hard with my battle pass to get all my V-Bucks. No! And then the last comment that we got here is, I haven't loved the EU. GDPR, forcing Apple to use the identical charging cables, right to repair, roaming charge bans within EU, and more. They are the kind of progressive laws that protect the consumer that people can get behind, unlike the Wild West of U.S. consumer law or no law in Russia and China. So yes, you have heard it from the gamers around the world. With the EU stepping in to regulate microtransactions and stop companies from hiding prices behind virtual currencies, HenricK, do you think that this new initiative will actually solve every gamer's concerns, or is this just like putting a Band-Aid on the loot box the size of a whale?
Well, what's going to happen with this is, yes, this is going to be a win if it passes, and a win for gamers, I mean. And yes, we will no longer be confused on how much money we're spending. But the thing is, it's not going to stop the spending. It's just going to make you feel worse when you spend money.
Yeah.
Because you're going to now know,
that, yeah.
oh, I spent $40 on this instead of, maybe saving it for gas money or something.
Yeah. And really the European Union or Commission, excuse me, they started this probe on Star Stable Online, which again is a children's video game where players explore an online world by riding horses and competing with friends in obstacle races. I still feel like, there's got to be a place where it's appropriate for young kids to jump online, and then there's other places they probably shouldn't. That's up to you, the parent, to decide. But the upcoming Digital Fairness Act may include stricter rules on virtual currency, transparency, and fairness. So I think this is a win for a lot of gamers around the world. But as you suggest, HenricK, real money game advantages within the game. That's the thing I would love to see stop the most. I can't stand it when it comes to video games. We kind of just discussed that a little bit when it came to AC Shadows with the premium armor, like you can really only achieve if you spend real money. That sucks, especially when you're considering that you're paying a $70 plus game and then you're like, wait, what? I can't do some like really badass challenging achievement just to be able to unlock it. I have to what now? Yeah, that's a turnoff.
Yeah. I mean, this does seem like it's overall a good thing, though, especially if you're thinking in the context of, the game that is in question and it being a children's game primarily, because I don't know about you, Chris, but when I was a kid, I didn't know the value of money in the same way that I do now. And
it's
when
so
you're
funny.
looking at, V-Bucks and all these other currencies, it just gets more confusing for you as a kid. And you're not going to know, oh, I'm actually spending $20. And $20 might sound like a lot for you as a kid, and it kind of is in a way. But it's also at the same time, there has to be an education to the kids that are playing games from the parents saying, hey, don't just go spending a ton of my money with my credit card, because it's a lot of money you're spending when you end up buying like 5 things that are $20.
Well, we are the generation that grew up sticking a VHS or a DVD, to be able to play your movies, right? Nowadays, with the young adolescents, they are jumping to streaming services like Netflix and Amazon Prime, Peacock, you name it, Disney Plus. And so a lot of them are geared towards being able to pick up the TV remote, click it on what they believe is available to them. We just had a little bit of an incident in the Collins household with some of the youthfulness doing that. They click the free trial thinking, quote unquote, free, but they don't understand that the real money will be pumped in after the trial expires. And so these are some of those little protections that the European Union is trying to tackle, and I think it's awesome. And so Star Stable Entertainment AB has now 1 month to provide a written response addressing the issues highlighted in the CPC network's common position and to propose commitments to the remedy them. So we'll have to see what's good. Do you think this is a good, strong push? Why does Europe always seem to be making the spotlight for good things to come? Can they deliver on that same promise again that can, circumvent all across the world? Let us know what's good.
And it's time for another Reddit showdown.
Always love this.
A gamer's throwing down the ultimate question. If you could erase all memory of a game and play it again like it's your first time, which one would it be?
Ooh, this is tough.
Yeah, it is a tough question. Because imagine wiping your brain clean and diving in with fresh eyes, no spoilers, no expectations.
Okay.
Sounds exciting to me.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what these people are going to be saying online.
Yeah. There's definitely some good comments with this one, so let's go ahead and take a look at them.
Yeah, I'm curious. Let's dive right on into it. So the first one that we got is, okay, I'm a little bit surprised. Subnautica. Let me experience the wonder and awe of its beauty and mystery again, please. And then you get another follow-up comment that says, don't forget the transition to pants shitting terror when you hear a loud roar and a glimpse of what looks like a freaking dragon off the murky distance. Excuse me. I'm actually kind of surprised by that pick. People really love this game like that?
Yeah, it's a great game if you've never played it.
Okay. Yeah, it definitely making me want to revisit because I think I maybe only spent like an hour into it, and then I was like,
oh, you didn't get far enough.
No, not far at all. I feel like I'm definitely missing out. Okay, you guys definitely gave me a game that I'm going to be jumping in ASAP. And then we get a comment. Oh, yes. Absolute, hands down, BioShock. Dude, that is like one of the greatest like 10, 15-minute openings ever.
Yeah.
In a video
Literally,
game.
and even just the reveal of the whole underwater city.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, man.
That's why I want to see a television series be made of BioShock so freaking badly. That would be
even just
amazing.
to see the reactions of non-gamers who've never played the game and
well, that's what I love about the Last of Us TV series.
Exactly.
We're getting non-gamers excited about stuff that we love.
yeah, there you go.
Like, come on now, fam. And then, okay. Mass Effect 1 through 3. Yep. I recently did the Legendary Edition after playing each game when they originally came out and very little DLC. So this is the closest I could go in, quote unquote, blind. What an incredible blast.
They want to get mad at the ending of 3 again.
Yeah, you're right. Well, yeah. No spoilers, HenricK. People might have never played it.
Up.
Zip it. And then you get comments like this one. Okay, the Knights of the Old Republic. Easily, genuinely the greatest plot twist / reveal in gaming. Maybe that's why they keep constantly delaying this remake, because they want to make sure they totally get it right. I mean, it is great.
Honestly, considering how stuck in development hell that remake is, I don't see it happening. I'm just gonna say it right now.
You don't think so?
See it happening.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's still very fun to play, even with its style of graphics. I mean, but then again, I understand that people need that 4K monitor to be used to the greatest extent that device can deliver. And Skyrim. Running around, finding random things was always a joy. And as you can see with the background artwork, that is Blackreach, by the way. So finding Blackreach from following a random quest is still in my top 5 gaming experiences. Like, my jaw literally just dropped, and all I could think was, this game has given so much already, and it's still giving me more. And I know you were about to say something, HenricK.
Well, it reminds me exactly of, any game in more recent memory that has done the Elden Ring thing of like, hey, go off and explore. And oh, look, now you found a loop from where you were all the way across the map, and now you're back where you started. Isn't that cool? Skyrim does the same thing.
Yeah, that would be truly awesome. I'm always thinking though, like in the year 2025, right? I wonder if Skyrim would hit me the same way it was when it first got released. I would like to think that's the case, but I don't know if I want my memories wiped. I don't know. Not for Skyrim. I don't know. But then again, I definitely respect the opinion. And then we got this one, Horizon Zero Dawn. For me, might be an odd choice, but I really love that story. I don't think that was an odd choice. This comment actually stole my original pick. Now I got to think real fast of another game now, because this was going to be it. I think this was, I can see why they want to adapt this into a movie. It is so freaking well done, the story development in this game. So if you've never played this game before, wow. Shame.
Get on it.
Shame. So yeah, like HenricK, when you think about all these 6 fantastic games, I think they all got very worthy of being on the top pedestal of things to definitely get your memory wiped out completely. But if you could completely forget a game and play it again from scratch, would you choose something epic like The Witcher 3, or are you just like looking for another excuse to relive the chaos of the untitled Goose Game with no memory of the Goose's Reign of Terror?
I'm gonna go old school with this one and say I would like to experience The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time fresh again. And I say that because that game has such a such a strong memory in my childhood as being this fantastic adventure. And honestly, even still going back to it, it's a great game. But seeing it with fresh eyes would be such a crazy experience in 2025. I'd love to experience that if possible.
Well, at least on YouTube, you would be able to have that as an arsenal to help you get through the water temple. Because I don't know if I want to. It'd be a struggling adolescent all over again, having to go through all that struggle.
Yeah,
just to be circling around.
Man, I gotta go lower the water again because I missed something. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, come on, man. Yeah, okay. That person really took the one that I was gonna do with Horizon Forbidden Dawn. So, okay. If I could completely wipe my memory and relive a game like it was the first time, okay, I think it would hands down be the Batman Arkham series, okay? So imagine diving back into Arkham Asylum, right? With no clue what's going on. You're blindsided by the Scarecrow sequences or that feeling of that rush for the first time you counter like 5 goons in a row, like an absolute legend. I love that kind of style of button mashing gameplay.
Or when you control a different character.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. That's true.
Just a hint.
I didn't mention the Kill the Justice League, okay? I mentioned the Arkham series because then you move on to the Arkham City and you're gliding through Gotham like the hero I was born to be, only to be wasting hours sidetracked trying to, achieve those Riddler trophies I could have swore I would never bother with. And then, the ending to such an iconic trilogy, Arkham Knight. That was awesome. I mean, that would be something I would truly love to experience all over again, especially driving around in the Batmobile, but maybe less of the tank battles, though, because, after a while, that kind of became too much. But that ending was so freaking good. And if you haven't played it yet, or if you got spoiled with all the endings watching Kai Cenat's most recent stream of the Batman, play it. It's so freaking good because what really seals the deal, HenricK, is Kevin Conroy as Batman and Mark Hamill as the Joker. I mean, they are absolutely a legendary duo with voice acting. It's so freaking good that it makes you forget you're playing a game and not watching the best Batman movie never made. So, yes, the range, the delivery, the ability to make every scene feel larger than life. Yes, I would have to say it's the Arkham series. But then again, we want to know from you, the gamers, what is some game that you would love to play all over again with your memory completely wiped as if you're in an episode of Severance? Let us know what's good. But man, we can't thank everyone for tuning in live to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So make sure you guys show us the love and subscribe to our YouTube channels. This is my QR code. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a live show.
And this is my QR code. So go ahead and give it a scan and it'll take you to my YouTube channel. There's all sorts of videos from different genres just waiting for you to go watch it. So while you bask in the glory of that QR code, take your phone out and scan that and go have some fun. Leave me a comment.
Yeah, what are you waiting for? And we always love you guys. Thank you so much. And hold on to your controllers because we'll see you guys and girls next week live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So enjoy the rest of the week. We'll see you then, fam. Peace.
See ya.